Hey yo, what's going on, guys? Today I got a Dragon Ball topic. I'm with my homie Dballz and TG, also known as ThunderGod. We're gonna be talking about Broly versus Jiren. You guys want to say anything before we get started?
Uh, what's up, nibbles? Every time I already said it, he just forgot the daddy in front of my name. We're gonna be talking about, a nice, interesting topic, bro. And TG's here too. Yeah, he's here too. And
Notice how
we
he
just
tried to
conversing. You feel me?
let me hit my intro before he starts to throw shade, right? Yeah. Notice they don't got intros. What's going on, guys? TG or Thunder Guy here. Take that out of the oven because that shit was crispy. I'm gonna let Air Tiger take this. My fault, bro. You got this.
Alright, so basically, like I said before, we're gonna be talking about Jiren. We're gonna be Jiren versus Broly. We're gonna be talking about all the arguments. Usually all the arguments we use for each character. We're gonna see which one should technically win in the end, comparing the feats, comparing the statements from the novels, the data books, from practically everything we have. With all that to the side, let me ask you guys the first question of the day. Who do you guys believe would win this in a one-on-one fight?
Gotta side with Jiren.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Jiren. I'm gonna go with D-Balls on this one. I'll back that horse. Jiren takes this one. Zero difficulty, actually. Sorry for anybody who's a Broly fan.
Both manga and anime Jiren slaps. Just to make this very clear,
yeah,
both versions.
Both versions.
yeah.
That's a bold claim. Why do you guys believe that?
All right, you want to start first, TG?
I can start first. I guess I'll be talking about Jiren in this case. I'll be talking about the evidence surrounding Jiren. So starting off, right? I'm gonna let D-Balls take the Broly side and not talk about that argument too much. Jiren, right? We have very cemented scaling for Jiren, and what I mean by that is in his suppressed state, at least in the anime, right? There is numerous upon numerous upon numerous. I'm talking like you can go outside and pull weeds out of the garden, and there still will be material talking about how Jiren is the level at a level that exceeds the gods of destruction. Whether you look at, promotional material, manga material, or actually the anime itself, as stated by Whis, Jiren does exceed the gods of destruction in his suppressed state without, his awakening, like limit breaker form. In which case, we have this definitive scaling in which, for the Broly side, it's a little more questionable. But we also know there's arguments for Belmod versus Beerus, in which case we know Jiren to be above Belmod. Whether or not you think Belmod is better, stronger than Beerus or weaker, it's kind of irrelevant just because, we know all the gods are relative from the manga. That really shouldn't be too questionable in terms of that. Like especially if you look at the tournament, if you go off the anime, there's literally nothing to go off of but an arm wrestle. So you could actually infer that Belmod would be stronger in that case. And I guess a lot of people try and debunk the fact that, these people aren't at that level with like this. There's this data book statement, in which case Beerus talks about how Goku might have surpassed him in the form of UI, like I believe it's episode 130 or 131. But the problem is right under it, it just reaffirms that Jiren has power that exceeds the gods of destruction. And it's a very solid argument in terms of the evidence putting Jiren on this level that just exceeds the gods of destruction. It's very consistent. Almost every material, even the series itself, does point to that. Whereas for Broly, as D-Balls is going to tell you, it's much more iffy and not nearly as concrete, I'll put it. So I'm going to let D-Balls, or I'm going to let you guys like take it over from that point to talk about the Broly side of that.
Yeah, so as you said before, you're gonna be taking more of the Jiren arguments. So, D-Balls, I'm gonna let you take all like the Broly arguments. Why do you think that Broly should at least stand like a little bit of a chance? Or what's the
Before I do
arguments?
that, just to steal like some of TG's spotlight, right? Another thing to note about anime wise with Jiren, right? You don't even have to like scale Beerus to Belmont. You don't need that to make him higher. We flat out states that a line that goes above something among the lines of like, there's a mortal that even a god of destruction cannot even defeat, right? And this is referring to like general, like god of destructions generally. And this would be like it's speaking on Jiren, so this would infer that Jiren be above the god of destructions in a general sense. I'm pretty sure there's also like I don't know if TG has it. It's a statement. It's saying that MUI Goku surpassed like the power of the GODs, and then Jiren, of course, matches that in the anime, which would then scale him above the god destructions. But just to like speak on Broly, right? A lot of the things with Broly is it's kind of like a no limit fallacy. People think that like Broly's ability to quickly adapt and gain power will give him like the edge in a fight. But in like general versus battle assumptions, it would be bloodlusted. So Jiren's like going for the kill. He wouldn't give Broly the time to like power up or do any of that. He's gonna just whoop Broly's ass. He's gonna just smack him the fuck down. But say like we have Broly get to his max power, right? Let's do it fairly. We're gonna do like in character bloodlust and like what if Broly gets to his max power? What if Jiren doesn't stop him? Well, we know that Broly's ability to grow is not just like he's just gonna continuously go up there because he didn't beat Gogeta. He fucking lost. He got body. He didn't have the means to keep evolving. So we know Broly has a set limit to his growth in battle. He can't just keep doing it. There is a point where he will stop if an opponent is too greatly above him. And then that's going to be the issue here, right? Because then we have like Goku's statement of saying like, well, you're probably his strongest Beerus, which just fucks up everything. All the editorial statements, right? Which there is a ton, which just state that like, Broly's the strongest, right? Stronger than Beerus, stronger than Jiren, the strongest enemy Goku's ever fought. And then Goku says that and it fucks it all up. Because now if Broly's not even comparable to like Beerus at full power and Goku's not even sure if he's really above Beerus, seriously, right? That would logically, like going off that, it would have to make Gogeta stronger than Beerus, right? Going off the logic of like what Goku's thinking. If Broly's probably as strong, Gogeta would have to definitely be stronger than Beerus, or at least at the level. And Broly couldn't even beat Gogeta. He couldn't contend with him. So it's just like a lot of anti-feats that shits on Broly. And the only thing I could see people using is the novel feats, right? But those aren't canon to the main, to like the movie, right? They're like they're a separate thing. And there's even like this manga panel where Goku and Vegeta are fighting Broly, and it says something like the strongest opponent ever. But that manga panel isn't even like connected to the movie because the scenes don't even match up. Like fucking Frieza's in like his first form, but in the Broly movie, he was always in his final form, just chilling out. So it just like you can't do it unless you just completely ignore the movie and use like manga or like manga canon or novel canon. But those like both aren't connected to the movie. So it's like two ways of really doing it. And it's just iffy, right? The movie definitely is not the way you're going to make him stronger. But I guess if you want to use the novels and such, then yeah, that would make him stronger than Jiren. I can see that being an argument. But just going off the movie alone, it's just not happening. And then like if we go into like in character, Jiren's dealt with someone like Broly, aka Kale. He's not gonna continuously let Broly like charge, especially if he's being annoyed. There's no reason for him to fuck around, right? We know in the case with like Goku and etc. Right? He doesn't like respect him. It's kind of like he's being a bit cocky, he's being a bit arrogant. But against Kale, he didn't play none of that shit because Kale just was not enough. He didn't feel anything from Kale. He didn't care about Kale. Kale wasn't relevant. Kale was just annoying. So he just like fucking swatted her ass away. The same thing would happen to Broly. Broly would just be like this raging ass like man baby. And Jiren's gonna be like, bye. Yeah. I don't feel like dealing with you. You're annoying. So I just think like the editorial statements get contradicted, like I said, by just like what we actually see. And it's just not a lot supporting Broly being greater than Jiren. And Jiren has like this stacks for manga and anime that makes sense. They're not like crazy to actually try to put together. And you don't need to like grab a fucking novel statement that doesn't even connect to like the main continuity, like the anime or the movie or the manga, right? Like you don't have to do none of that with Jiren. You can just plow up anime statement here, yeah. Easy scaling here, manga, boom, boom, boom. It's like it's easier with Jiren, and it just makes sense for Broly. They just did not give him enough, right? I think, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say there. They just didn't give him enough to really like scale him above the likes of like Jiren and such. Like it's just not a lot for him.
You know, it's a good analogy actually that you brought that up during that little explanation is that people essentially to argue for the Broly side, they almost have to like use a comp Broly like with all of his material, like almost like you see people use like comp Superman or something like that. Like they're ignoring the fact that, you know, these could be like different continuities, that the material itself is very iffy, and they throw it all together, which you just can't do. It just doesn't work. And that's kind of their argument. And just as you were saying, like in comparison to like the Jiren side, it's very, very like it's a lot less stable and it's a lot less concrete. Just like the Broly argument, to be honest, it's just not as strong in terms of like in comparison, pretty much to the Jiren side. So yeah, I definitely agree with what Dballz is saying right here.
That's pretty nice. Two more arguments, like with the, like you know, besides like the strength and him being practically like the Hulk, he just gets like strong over time, like Yami from Bleach. Do you guys think there's any other arguments or anything else you could say to like even give Broly a slight chance of winning?
Oh yeah. I'll tell you actually. I'll tell you about this argument I've heard before. I've heard it a couple times actually. So it's based further off the novelization, right? But essentially goes off the basis that I don't remember the exact specifics, but anybody who's read the novel will definitely like know what I'm talking about. In terms of they argue the fact that Broly is stronger than Gogeta. He's just not as fast. And this is supported by the fact that like Vegeta makes note of Broly's movements in the novelization, like when him and Goku are like close to Broly and they hit him with the kick, they actually make note, like Vegeta makes a note that his moves are like sluggish or something like that, or along those lines. So if anything, right, like they pretty much make the argument that, you know, Broly's stronger, and that's actually how he's able to take this horrific ass beating by Gogeta. Yeah, I'm sorry that I cursed, no monetization, but you know, it is what it is. Move on.
Whatever.
It is what it is. So they make that argument, you know, that Broly would just be like stronger. That's why he's able to take all these blows, and that the reason he was actually losing was because his ki was leaking out. Obviously, the problem with this is that this is just an inferior form if this is the case, because it would just be like strength with no speed, at which case, like, it wouldn't make a difference because at some point you're going to lose anyway. But that's an interesting argument I've actually heard brought up for the Broly side. But again, it doesn't really matter, unfortunately. And to kind of piggyback off that, people also use the argument that like Goku gets stronger. It's actually very similar.
I was gonna speak on that too.
We'll tag team on this point. Pause. They use the argument that Goku got stronger. There's anime material, as I'm sure Air Tiger's showing you on screen, and they also use the manga statement of Goku and friends getting stronger. Dballz, you want to kind of carry off that point on?
So basically, people like to say, well, we know Goku, like Saiyans get Zenkai boost right after fighting, so logically, this Goku would be stronger this tournament of Power Self. But we know Zenkai boosts are very iffy. Sometimes they can make you like a leap stronger, right? And sometimes they make you just a bit stronger. We don't know if Goku's stronger than MUI, right? We don't know if he's just stronger than like his base self, right? Super Saiyan, etc., right? Ignoring MUI. And if MUI is above the God of Destructions, right? And we're not even sure like where Gogeta scales, right? We don't know if he's MUI level. We just know he's greater than Goku and Vegeta combined, but we don't know like how fusions versus MUI actually work in terms of their feats. If Broly's weaker than Jiren, then it would be safe to make the assertion that MUI would be greater than Gogeta since he's able to deal with a stronger opponent and actually like, you know, fight him, right? I just don't see and it's not a lot of proof that Goku's gotten stronger than he was before. There's not a lot. I've seen people argue that the fact that Goku like instantly says, "Oh yeah, we got to fuse to beat this individual," somehow means that like Broly's stronger than Jiren. But like you have to remember that in Tournament of Power, they like you couldn't bring in like fusion shits, right? Because that would be considered cheating. We know like Kel and Khalifa did it, but that was like some sneaky shit. Yeah. And Goku and Vegeta just didn't think about it. We know Vegeta also just doesn't like it. So it's not like it's a lot that just made it so it wouldn't be an option even if they wanted to be, right? And even still, there's not a lot to scale Gogeta from. We don't know where he scales. We just know he fights Broly, he whoops Broly ass. And if it's nothing that's showing that Broly is greater than Jiren or greater than MUI, then you can't say Gogeta scales above MUI. So you just have like this character who only scales to this weak ass individual in comparison to Jiren, and then we have MUI scaling to a stronger individual due to like feed statement and etc. So it's just like a lot of the Broly arguments rely on just a lot of like ratty rhetoric, right? Yeah. Just like you don't wash your fucking hands after you take a shit type of rhetoric. And it's just like you're not telling the truth, but you can make it sound like it kind of makes sense, but it just doesn't. So that's like how I feel in regards to like that argument. I don't think like it's really difficult to argue for Broly unless you just say like manga novels only. That's it. That's the only way you could do it.
Then maybe. We could see that, but even then it's like kind of iffy. I'm curious, what's your guys' thoughts on this? Like in terms of like people bring this up too. This is an interesting feed. Like when Gogeta and Broly are fighting and they like clash fists and they break a dimension, like they go into like a parallel like plane. What's your guys' kind of take on that? Like that feed as a whole. Like is that really something crazy? Like what do you guys think on that?
If we're talking about Dragon Ball in this circumstance, yeah, I definitely don't find it crazy. I think they're kind of known for having these incredibly high feats that shouldn't, be necessarily possible, but it's Dragon Ball, so like I don't think anyone would necessarily be surprised. That's my thoughts on it anyways.
Yeah.
I think it's just like in Dragon Ball, we know like niggas be ripping open dimensions for funsies. We've seen like Gotenks and Boo do it. So I don't think it's like that crazy. And then it's like you can't quantify the level of defeat. It's like a novel statement that I think says like they fucking broke through reality or some shit. It's something for the novel, but it's not for the actual like movie. It doesn't connect unless you could prove it, which there's not anything you really could do to prove that they actually connect to one another because there's a lot of iffy shit within it. But like, yeah, it's just it's a feat that can't be quantified in my opinion. So you can't say like it's greater than anything Jiren could do or anything MUI could do because we don't know what's actually happening. There's no like in movie statement referring to like what's going on, you know? So I just think it's like it's a weird thing. Maybe someone out there, right? Watch this, like, yo, I got the argument for you, bro. I know exactly what happened. They got like some movie statement I never witnessed, right? It's fucking behind the scenes and shit, maybe, but not from what's actually like presented. No, that feed is just whatever. It's just like flashy to me. I don't think there's anything to be really taken into account.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I also wanted to bring back another point, in terms of because we kind of like skimmed over this, but the promotional material. Promotional material itself is very like I don't want to say contradictory, but it's very like iffy because we've heard statements like this before. Like is it like there's contention over like Janemba versus Broly, like Z Broly, like I believe it's like movie 7 Broly. Like there's like differing statements in terms of like who's like the strongest, movie villain there. So to take promotional material as absolute fact would just be very I don't want to say ignorant, but it'd be very like you'd be ignoring like previously like established, like previously established arguments that were also equally as loose, to be honest with you. So I definitely think that's also a point worth like talking about a little bit more, the the promotional material and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think people take statements a little bit too they hold it too close, right? I think if a statement is not contradicted, that's fine, right? If a statement is then said and then nothing supports it and it's kind of like contradicted by the actual like showings of feats, then the statement is no longer valuable to me. I throw that shit away. It's gone. It's bye-bye. Like it's not a lot to support the statements in the movie itself. It almost seems like they would like it just comes off as this hype. They're hyping up the character.
When you said statement without contradiction, bro, my soul hurt a little bit, bro. Cause you know how dudes be wilding.
Okay, yeah, I think like you regard that, right? Of course, I listen to like the statement to make sure it's like saying what it's saying literally, and it's not like being hyperbolic or it's like fucking around with you. It's different cases. I'm saying like if they say if a character who's credible and valuable says this character could blow up a planet, and there's nothing that contradicts it, and then we even got some stuff supporting it, I think it's fine. Like I think it's cool to use. But if it's like nothing supporting it, and then it's stuff to like speak against it, then I think you no longer take it as valuable. Or if it's questionable from who it's coming from, then you also do the same. And I think like a lot of people in that's making these comments, right? Are these writers?
So interesting enough. For example, right? Like we'll talk about the novelization that isn't written by Toriyama. Like so the extent in which I believe the person's name is Masatoshi Kusake Kabe. I don't know exactly that individual particularly what like extent or like how much influence he had over the production of the film. So it's like even like with these novels, right? Or like the promotional materials you were bringing up, like we really have to look at who's making these statements very in depth because that makes a big difference. Like for example, if it's like the director of the movie versus like the art director, one's gonna hold a little bit more, I suppose, validity than the other, which I think all three of us can agree with on that.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. By the way, for anybody who like doesn't know, all the Jiren statements we're referring to, at least in the anime, that is in his suppressed state. We're not talking about him breaking his limits and actually, matching UI Goku. Now, if you think UI Goku is weaker than Beerus in the Tournament of Power, I mean, like, you can leave. Like, the door's open. You might as well get out. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like, and if you tell me we haven't seen Beerus's full power, I'm gonna spit in your eye. Like, it's just kind of the way.
I need to go sit with the Saitama nibbles, bro. Go sit with them. Take a little seat with them, bro. Y'all can talk about how y'all characters ain't showing their true powers yet.
Yeah.
Spitting.
The manga is a bit more contentious because we see Jiren's full power, but he gets overwhelmed by Goku a lot more confidently in the manga than he does in the anime with his like complete full power. So if you argue manga Jiren, it's a little. I guess you can make a better case for it.
Ooh, interesting about that, right? Because I'm like, I was looking at it, saying this. Whis makes a statement when they're fighting in the manga, and he says something along the lines of alas, Jiren's potential is immeasurable. He's countering faster now through sheer determination. And so we know that like Jiren was adapting to MUI and he's growing with MUI,
Yes.
right? And we know that like at the time, Jiren basically did kind of win the fight. Like MUI gassed out and was not able to actually like put down Jiren. Jiren kept getting back up and then just growing like as Goku was growing also. But it's just Goku had like the stamina draining MUI, which like took a toll. But it's just the showing of it looks like Jiren's getting more bitched out. But it's like taking Whis' statement, we know that Jiren was actually matching him and growing to like a level where he could fight MUI, where it was like no more like of a one-sided thing. So I just want to like show that scan.
Yeah, that's actually, I'm actually super glad you brought that up because not a lot of people realize like Jiren actually has insane adaptation. Like he's adapting like past MUI and like with MUI in their actual fight. And you just provided the manga scan, and that's actually consistent in the anime too. You actually notice like at the beginning of the fight, he's overwhelming UI, and he's actually like he's keeping pace with UI's constant adaptation. So he has to have adaptation of his own in order for that
to like just to like further back it up, right? We even got like Jiren reacting to like MUI, like he's catching his kick and shit. So we know that like it's literally just a case of like Jiren growing overall in stats.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't realize also that Jiren would logically be stronger after the Tournament of Power as well, exponentially, because of at the end of the Tournament of Power, he kind of had his like ideology shifted, and like he pretty much had like the anime supports this more, but he pretty much like unlocked his like, I don't want to say latent potential, but he kind of got that boost in power from like relying on Topo and stuff like that, like. And he smiles, like kind of accepting Goku. So you can actually infer like that weight of Jiren's like past like self, like his regret, guilt, and all that, kind of like uplifted him. Like now he's like a better fighter when he got stronger from that. Yeah.
Ooh, TG, on that note, right? A lot of people, someone like told me of this argument. So after the Broly movie, do you feel like Broly kept the power that he showed against Gogeta, Goku, Vegeta? Do you feel like he kept that, or do you feel like? Because I feel like he doesn't. I feel like based off because Frieza makes a statement saying if he learned to control his mind, he would be the strongest in the universe, right? Strongest warrior. And I take this as saying that like Broly cannot manually go into Akiri, Super Saiyan, etc., right? Because he doesn't know how to switch it. It's more like it activates from his anger. So do you feel like people who like to say like, well, Broly's unlocked his level of power, he could go back into it, and then he would have his ability to evolve, which will make him go above Jiren as they fight? Or do you feel like Broly hasn't shown anything to provide that he's kept this level of power after the fact?
So here's what I would argue with that, because I think like it's kind of hard to say objectively. If you're asking me personally, right? Let's say somebody brought this up to me in a debate and I'm talking about it. I would argue to like pretty much up until the moment like Broly kind of loses to Super Saiyan God Vegeta, because that's when he becomes a lot more feral and he kind of starts losing control. Up until that moment, he's still conscious. He's still in his base form. He's still like fully aware of like his fighting. I would argue you can objectively say he would keep that power increase up to there. After like his Akari Rage form, we'd be only assuming. We'd only assume past that like that point if he kept the increases that he got in those later forms. But I would say objectively, we can like his base like going up to Super Saiyan God Vegeta or like relative enough that's where his base would get amped to. Anything past that, we'd be kind of like assuming his mental state and like how we can actually keep the power. That's what I'd say on that note.
Yeah, I see it as like Gohan like in the Buu arc, right? Or even like in the Cell arc. I know in the anime shows it. I don't know if the manga shows this, but in the anime we see like Gohan go into Super Saiyan 2 in the anime, and this lets Goku know that he has this higher level of power and it's only due to anger, and Gohan can't just activate it again. You know, just because like he unlocked this level of power, we have to remember it came with this condition, which is anger. He can't just do it normally after that. Like he doesn't, I don't even think he gets like a permanent boost after the fact. He has to literally go through everything he went with Cell to get it again through the use of anger. And then we know in the Buu arc, he loses that level of power because he can't get angry like that again. So I feel like there's a lot to substantiate that Broly has this condition to his power. And then even after the Broly movie, until he learns to actually control his mind and you know, activate that power that he used against Gogeta, Goku, and Vegeta, you know, consciously, he can't just go into it now. Like it's not something he could do normally because he didn't understand how he did it. You know what I mean? So I think like that argument doesn't work either, but I just wanted to bring it up because it was brought up to me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like the fact that we just went that in depth to try and like talk about if Broly even kept the power that's inferior to Jiren's power just really needs to show you like the case for Broly is not a good one. It's just not. And we're not here to shit on Broly because Broly's a savage, like an animal in his own right. Like no disrespect.
No
It's just
cap.
kind of like yeah, no cap, right?
Yeah, no
It's
No
cap.
just,
cap. No cap.
it's no cap. Like we can't lie. He's a savage. I play him in fighters. Like we're all cool. But it's just kind of like the argument's not there. And you know, obviously, like we don't want to. If we're gonna really argue, like what's more consistent, it is way more consistent to say Jiren. That's just kind of the fact of the matter at this point.
Yeah, so I think we can all agree from this point with the evidence that TG and Dballz shows that I think we can all agree that Jiren eventually would take it one-on-one fight. He would 100% take it, just from the feats, the statements, and just this battle in general, from the stats, from the feats we were showing. I think we can all agree. And now, you guys have anything else you guys want to add to the video?
Just
you
before
disagree?
people bring it up, right? My
Oh,
fault.
shit.
My fault.
No,
I
you're
love
good.
you.
Go get it
Kiss
out.
this, right? I don't mean to interrupt you. But right, just to be fair, we are saying that novel and manga like Broly can be said to beat Jiren. That's fine. Like we don't mind that, right? We're talking about like the movie and only the movie, right? Because the manga and the novels are a different, almost like a different timeline, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, especially the manga, a completely different timeline from the movie. They're not even the same. It
It's
would
its
only
own
be canon onto itself. You can't like connect it to the movie. So we're saying just off movie, like movie to anime, right? We're anime Jiren to manga Jiren, right? Both of those versions can beat Broly, right? And then we have like Broly, who cannot win with what he has in the movie, but if you use the novels and the manga, you can make a case for him. So we're not like denying that Broly can win. We're just saying that like it's not all the main continuity of Dragon Ball, just the movie.
Yes, that's a good one.
He still gets slapped. No cap. He still gets slapped. He gets slapped. He gets slapped.
And if you disagree, feel free to debate us 3v1 on this. And if you win, we'll hand you our TikTok accounts. So
wait, hold up. Hold up. If ever so happened that Trini and Seth just look at this vid and
okay, that's different. That's different.
I did not agree to that. So no matter what happens, you can suck a fat one. I'm not giving you any.
we'll post
But if I win, I want your entire channels and clout.
That's what I'm saying. We're pretty confident in what we're saying. Is pretty much what we're saying. So that's pretty much our thoughts on the matter.
Yeah, thank you TG, aka ThunderGod. Thank you Dballz for the video. Make sure to follow them. Subscribe to them, to the channels. The links for the channels will be down in the description, like always. And with all of that, that'll be the end of it. You guys have anything you guys want to add before I end it?
Remember that I smoke Air Tigers Pack 2-0, so never forget that.
Yo, that man stay Calvin. How about you, TG?
Yeah, honestly, bro, thank you for having me on the channel. I appreciate that. You actually wanted to collab with me, unlike some other people in this call, bro. But you know what it is.
No. I'm mad grateful too.
Notice how he didn't say it till I said it. I'm kidding. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Definitely check us out. Go like this video. If you didn't like this video, I'm coming over to the comment section. So be best in this video.
And with all that, that would be the end of it.